radio network where advice meets action.
We're here to spark your growth, lift your spirit, and help you crush your potential.
Rise awakening, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice, where dreams awaken in life. Rise awakening, now is the dawn.
Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.
Cards laid bare, shadows collide. Hidden truths in the tide. A spark in the dark, it Illuminate, illuminate. Through the fog, the stars awake. Illuminate, illuminate. The path you seek, the steps you take. Thunder rolls, whispers rise. The deck unfolds, no disguise. Light cracks the veil, it shows. What's unseen now inside? What's unknown now ignite. Illuminate, illuminate. Through the fog, the stars awake. Illuminate, illuminate. The path you seek, the steps you take. Awakening calling, through silence falling. Wisdom crawls through the
Morning, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all here. The chat's already going crazy. I love it. So happy to see you all. We have a crazy reading today. It's really cool. But we'll start off by saying, for those of you who've not been here before, what we do here is we do a full Celtic Cross reading. It is a collective reading, so that means it may not resonate with everyone. But a few of the cards may, some of them may not. It's okay. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and find something you can learn from it. It's always great. After we do that, we will go through one card really extensively. We call that our homework card, but just something to focus on maybe. And then when we finish, anyone who would like a personal shadow work card from the deck, let me know and we will get that for everyone. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Micah pointed out yesterday on the core, but I wanted to also share. We found out recently that the shows are being seen in over 40 countries. And so wherever you're watching from, either now live or later on the podcasts, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you very much. All right. So, okay, cool. Well, just FYI, for those of you who have been around, you know, our new AI IT guy, Michael, has created us a new website, and he's just saying he's watching from the web page. So awesome. Glad it's working. Glad everything's getting up there. We are expanding and we are growing and we love it. We hope that you guys continue to pass the word around, like and subscribe to the YouTube channels so that we get the word out there even more. And let's get started. All right, like I said, today's reading's a little crazy, but it's not bad. It's getting better. So, hey, no complaints, right? All right, so let us get started. So, oh, I should probably unmute the radio. Dang, I one of these days, I will make sure that I don't forget to unmute the radio. All right, we're on the radio now too. Okay, good morning, guys. All right, so this spread is sharp, not just emotionally or spiritually loaded. It's intellectually charged, truth cutting, and honestly a little unforgiving, but in a good way. All right, so we're going to start off today with the Lovers. The present, this is your present energy. I'm going to start with my English R hard right to begin with. All right, this is the heart of the situation. At the center, we have the Lovers, which is not just romance, it's alignment, choice, and integrity. This is a moment where your external decisions must match your internal truth. The imagery traditionally shows two figures with divine oversight, symbolizing not just connection, but conscious choice under higher awareness. This tells us that we're at a crossroads where something feels right, but we're being asked, is it aligned with your values or just your desires? Shadow aspects can be choosing comfort, validation, or chemistry over truth. Your advice here is think about this, Nick, and I want you to think about this statement carefully. Make the choice that your future self will not have to clean up after. Remember that. All right. Next up, in the challenge position. All right. And this is where things start getting crazy. We have the Ace of Swords. This is the challenge. This is the crossing energy. This is clarity trying to break through, but it's not gentle. The Ace of Swords cuts through the illusions, exposes truth, and demands honesty, even if it stings. The challenge here is accepting a truth you already know, not discovering it because you already know the answer. The problem here is accepting it. On this card, the crowned sword rising through the clouds represents truth emerging through confusion, crowned by divine authority. This isn't optional, it's inevitable. The shadow aspect of this can be avoidance and overthinking instead of deciding, which is what is holding you back. You know the answer. Say the thing, admit the thing, write it down if you have to, but stop pretending you don't see it. All right. Next up, we have the Queen of Swords. This is sword number 2. Subconscious root cause. Here's where it gets personal. The Queen of Swords beneath the surface tells a story of someone who has earned their discernment through pain. She is perspective, direct, and not easily fooled, but she didn't get that way by accident. This suggests past wounds have shaped your current standards. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. But it can make you hypervigilant. The shadow aspects can be emotional detachment as self-protection, maybe cutting too quickly. Keep your standards, but don't let past pain decide every present moment. All right, here we go. In the past, we have our next sword, sword number 3, Knight of Swords. Past, all right, wait. Golly, fast, impulsive, maybe even chaotic communication or action. The Knight of Swords is someone or energy that moves quickly, speaks bluntly, and doesn't always think through the emotional consequences. This could be a past situation where things escalated quickly. Words were said, truths were dropped, and decisions were made at high speed. The shadow aspect can be reactivity, emotional whiplash, and conflict. The advice here is learn from the pace. Just because something moves fast doesn't mean it's right. Yes, Michael, the reading today is super sharp. Just wait. All right, next up in our conscious goals, we have the Ace of Pentacles. What are you aiming for? You want something real, tangible, stable, a fresh start that actually has long-term potential. After all this mental and emotional intensity, you're craving groundedness, something you can build upon. The imagery on the card is a coin being offered from the divine with the lush garden in the back. This is opportunity with solid roots. I hear that? With solid roots. Don't just chase what feels right in the moment. Choose what lasts. I think my tongue needs more coffee, correct. I'm avoiding the coffee this morning because my stomach has been bothering me, so I'm avoiding it, but you're right, Sissy, my tongue definitely needs more coffee. All right, so in the near future, this is awesome. We have the Ten of Pentacles. This is legacy, stability, long-term security, family, and foundation. Whatever you're stepping into has the potential to stick, but here's the catch. This only comes after the truth is fully acknowledged in the Ace of Swords and aligned choices are made in the lovers. The shadow aspects can be clinging to something that looks stable but isn't aligned. Your advice here is to build on truth, not illusion, or it will not hold. All right. In our energy right now, our emotional state, we have another ace. We have the Ace of Cups. You're open. Whether you like it or not, you are emotionally open. The Ace of Cups says your heart is ready for renewal, connection, and emotional truth. But paired with all these swords, the openness is being filtered heavily through logic. Shadow aspect is wanting love, but over analyzing it to death. Let yourself feel without immediately interrogating the feelings. All right, up next. Another sword. In our external environment, we have the Page of Swords. There's curiosity, observation, maybe even a little surveillance energy around you. Someone is watching, learning, gathering information, or maybe you're doing this. The Page of Swords is the student of truth, but not yet wise in delivery. So while there may be watching going on, there's little to no communication. The shadow aspect of this is overthinking, anxiety, or reading too much into things. The advice here is ask directly instead of all the guessing. Next up, in your hopes and fears, we have the Eight of Cups. You know walking away is an option, and part of you fears it, while the other part quietly knows it might be necessary. This card is about leaving something emotionally unfulfilling in search of deeper truth. Shadow aspect that can be staying somewhere out of fear or loss. Your advice here is, if you leave, leave with purpose, not avoidance. All right, last but not least. The reading part's short today because we're going to get into some of the other parts of it. We have yet another sword. This is the King of Swords. This is your outcome, and here he is, the final word. The King of Swords doesn't deal in confusion, fantasy, or emotional fog. This is truth, clarity, boundaries, and final decisions. This suggests that by the end of this situation, you step fully into authority over your thoughts, your voice, and your standards. Lead with truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Actually, especially when it's uncomfortable. All right. Now, we need to talk about the fact that we had all 4 sword court cards. Kind of the sword court takeover. This isn't just 1 or 2 sword figures. We pull the entire arc of the court. Page, knight, queen, king. That is wildly significant. This represents a full evolution of thought, communication, truth, and mental mastery happening in one situation. What that means is, one, you are being forced to grow mentally and emotionally, and it's happening fast. This isn't a gentle learning curve. This is leveling up your discernment, your communication style, and your boundaries in real time. Two, this is communication, and it's everything right now. Not feelings, not assumptions, words, truth. Conversations that may not be comfortable but are necessary. And three, you are integrating every stage of understanding. The page is curiosity and observation. The knight is action and expression. The queen is discernment, emotional intelligence through pain. And the king is mastery, authority, and truth without apology. This is you learning how to think clearly, speak directly, and decide wisely. Now, let's not over romanticize it. All these swords do have a shadow side that can feel like overthinking spirals, emotional detachment, harsh communication from you or others, analysis paralysis. Too much air energy can disconnect you from your heart, which is interesting because the spread also includes the lovers and the ace of cups, which reminds you truth without compassion becomes cold, and emotion without truth becomes illusion. You're being asked to balance both. Bubble kittens, are you ready? You are at a pivotal decision point where your heart, the lovers and the ace of cups, your mind, the entire swords card, and your long-term stability in the aces and the 10 of pentacles are all trying to come into alignment. But that alignment requires one thing you can't bypass: radical, unapologetic honesty. Not just with others. Oh, do I have to? Oh, sorry. Not just with others, but with yourself. And once you do that, the King of Swords outcome says you don't just get clarity, you become it. The full-on swords court parade is happening here. It's not subtle energy. This is a full council meeting in your mind, your voice, and your boundaries. I have to put $1 in the swear jar because I said the word pivot, apparently. Hey, it's become a pivotal word on these shows. All right, so I had to take off my jacket. It was cold in here earlier. Now I'm like sweltering. I got my cute little this is perfect for today. Every little thing is gonna be all right, and that's right. Okay. So, good morning, Rocket Cherry. So good to see everybody this morning. All right. So I went on Reddit and I looked up the fact that we had all court cards, all the sword court cards, and the fact that we had 3, I believe, aces. That's a lot. So I wanted to show you what, okay, now it can't open because, all right, here we go. I want to read to you what Reddit said about this. Seeing all 4 sword court cards alongside 3 aces in a single tarot reading indicates a period of intense mental activity, profound communication shifts, and high stakes decision making where the intellect dominates. It signifies a moment of total mental reset or a necessary strategic and no nonsense approach to a complex problem. All right, let's talk about this a little bit. The dominance of the air energy. With all court cards of one suit, you are dealing with a situation heavily influenced by your thoughts, communication, and intellectual strategies. The sword factory, it says, is your mental overload. A high volume of swords suggests you are likely too much in your head right now, or experiencing conflict, anxiety, or deep overthinking. The 3 aces. The multiple aces, especially including the ace of swords, which we all, the court cards are all in swords, indicate several new opportunities for fresh mental clarity, fresh communication, or a brand new intellectual adventure awaiting you. The 4 courts can also be influential people. They suggest that different aspects of yourself, all 4 different people, are interacting, causing, or managing this conflict or shift in your perspective. This is total intellectual reset. The presence of all four car cards, especially if including the four of swords energy, which we did not, but advises a timeout or a strategic retreat to rest, plan, and gain clarity before moving forward. These are strategic decisions. The cards show you have potential with all those aces and the mental tools with all the court cards to resolve this tough problem. But it requires cold, hard logic rather than emotion. All right. This combination often highlights a situation where legal matters, contracts, or sharp communication may be critical. This is overcoming mental barriers. The three aces suggest that despite the heavy potential, stressful swords environment, you are being offered a flash of insight or a new way to cut through the confusion. The advice is take a break, think strategically, prepare to communicate because communication is starting. So prepare to express the truth. All right. That was heavy. That was a lot. All right, let's talk about our homework card. Are we ready for more? Okay. We have for this week, and hopefully this is something new. I don't think we've had this one before. In fact, I'm pretty sure. I don't even draw this card that often. Lately we have. All right, we have the Three of Wands. Sorry, let's dig into the Three of Wands. Layer by layer, from obvious meanings to the subtle, uncomfortable truths about its quiet holes. This card is expansion after initiation. And apparently, with all that we just read, we're in the phase of going through initiation. So, we're at the third wand. We've already, if you look at the wands in the order, Ace of Wands and Two of Wands, we're at the third one. We've already gotten the spark in the Ace of Wands and made a choice or taken action in the Two of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands is the moment where you step back, look outward, and ask, what have I actually set in motion and where is it going? It's about momentum, foresight, and trust in unfolding results. Let's talk about the imagery a little bit. In most traditional decks, we see a figure standing on a cliff or elevated ground. Three wands planted firmly in the earth, and ships sailing across the water in the distance. All right, the figure is the observer or the creator. They're not rushing. They're not climbing anymore. They're just watching. This is someone who has already made a move and is now assessing the outcome. It is the space between control and surrender. You don't need to chase everything. You need to recognize what's already in motion. The ocean is the unknown and the emotional and spiritual distance. Water represents the subconscious, emotional depth, the unknown future, and the ships are moving through this uncertainty. Your plans are traveling through forces that you cannot control. The ships are the manifestation or the return on the investment. This is where interpretations vary, and this matters. The ships could be going out if you're sending energy, ideas, or efforts into the world. Or they could be coming in if your manifestations are returning back to you. Either way, there's movement tied to your earlier actions. The Three Wands represent stability through growth. 3 is the number of expansion, creation, collaboration. The wands are grounded in this picture, meaning your vision isn't just a fantasy anymore. It is anchored in reality. All right, the upright meeting. We'll talk about that first. Surface level is expansion, progress, waiting for results, planning ahead, or opportunities that are on the horizon. Psychological layer, this is the mindset of someone learning, patience without passivity, vision without control issues, and trust without needing constant proof. It asks, can you believe in what you started before it fully arrives? The energetic layer and spiritual layer says you are in a co-creation phase with the universe, not initiating you anymore, not receiving fully yet. You are in the bridge space where intention becomes reality, where doubt can creep in, and where faith is tested. The practical and real world manifestations of this are business growth starting to show signs, waiting, approvals, or returns. travel or expansion beyond current environment, networking or reaching wider audience, and long-term planning paying off. Now let's get into a little bit of the shadow side of the Three of Wands, because here's where it gets a little bit uncomfortable. It can be passive waiting. You saying you're waiting for results, but really you're avoiding the next step. You're afraid to scale bigger, or you're stalling under the disguise of patience. It can be over projection. You're so focused on the future that you miss what's happening right now. You ignore present opportunities, or you build castles in the sky without reinforcing the foundation. This can be control issues. This one's subtle though. You're watching the ships like, are they coming back yet? Why aren't they here? Did I do it wrong? This creates anxiety, micromanaging energy, and distrust in your own process. Hi, Heathery. Glad you're here. All right. This is also fear of expansion. Growth sounds good until it requires leaving comfort zones, outgrowing people, or taking more visibility, or taking on more visibility and responsibility. The shadow asks you, do you actually want what you say you want? All right, now let's talk a little bit about the reverse meeting. Reversals here are not just delays, they're misalignments in expansion energy. This can be blocked growth, plans not taking off, efforts not yielding results, of feeling stuck after initial progress. But why? Because something foundational may not be aligned. It could be a lack of foresight, acting without a long-term plan, not thinking beyond the immediate next step, or underestimating what expansion really requires. No angry bunny thumps in the chat room. Sorry. All right. This can also be fear of leaving the shore, and this is big. You may have the opportunity to expand, but you're hesitating, doubting, and clinging to the familiar. It can also be internal mistrust. You don't trust your decisions, your timing, or the process itself. So you second guess everything, pull back your energy prematurely, or sabotage the momentum. Yes, please don't shake my RV with your angry money thumbs. All right, so let's talk a little bit about trauma and shadow work. This card often connects to the fear of disappointment after losing hope. Past experiences where things didn't pan out the way you hoped. Conditioning around needing immediate results to feel safe. It asks you to confront what happens in your body when you don't have certainty. Do you spiral, overthink, try to control the outcomes, or, gosh, I have hiccups, sorry, or abandon the path too early? The Three of Wands when it shows up in a reading, it's because you are on the edge of expansion, in a waiting period that actually matters, or being asked to trust momentum you've already created. It's a checkpoint, not a destination. This isn't a passive card. It's active patience. Keep your vision wide, but your feet grounded. Don't abandon your path just because results aren't instant. Can I read that again to myself? Don't abandon your path just because results aren't instant. Track what is working instead of obsessing over what hasn't arrived. And be willing to adjust strategy without abandoning direction. Most importantly, stop staring at the horizon long enough to notice what's already docking behind you. I know I am a spiraling overthinker as well. So yeah. Yeah, I said twice too. Exactly. Anyway, let's talk about some of the inside, just a little bit about the inside. The Three of Wands is the moment where manifestation stops being exciting and starts requiring maturity. It's less, I want this, and more, am I ready to sustain this? Which is, the most important part, because if we're not there yet and we're not quite ready to sustain what's coming in, then the universe is gonna put us into a place of contemplation and possible overthinking and trying to figure, making sure that we're ready for the next step. So So yeah, that's going to happen. All right, so I've tried to look at the chat here. You guys have been chatting so much, I missed everything. So if you have any questions or something you want to say or talk about, throw it at me now. What do you do? What do you do when you're scared of the future, though? When people have hurt you so much that you fear them? That's a good question. But the biggest thing I can say, because I understand that fully, because yes, there's a lot of fear in moving forward when you've been hurt time and time and time again. My biggest thought on that, or what I'm working towards, well, yes, let me say what Mish said first, is you remove those people from your life and you can get professional help or learn to heal from it. You can. For me, the biggest part is I need to know and to make sure that I am ready within myself to be able to handle my boundaries. First of all, you need to know what your boundaries are. You need to set those boundaries, and you need to be in a space where you're confident enough in your own reactions that you can and are able to establish those boundaries and stick to them, and have the communication skills, which is what those swords were all about, to be able to say, and the confidence to be able to say, look, this is not aligned with who I am. This does not align with what is important to me. This does not align with what I want in my life. And you have to be able to say that and not allow those types of people that cross your boundaries into your life. All right, I have a local guy that's interested in me, but I'm also in a long distance relationship, and he knows this. My shyness is telling me I'm not ready, but I need to set boundaries better. There you go. That is exactly what you need to do. You need to set those boundaries, and you need to make sure that you are able to, when something comes up, when someone says something that hurts you, when somebody does something, or a situation comes up where your boundaries are crossed and you're feeling hurt, or you're feeling anything negative about that situation, that you have the strength and the courage to step up and say, look, this is not where this is going. This is not. No, I don't want to leave. Sorry. Things are falling and my computer's trying to take things away from me. And oddly, your eyebrows stop twitching. There you go. See, that's because you're relaxing into the moment. It's all the sage in the room. And Niche, yes, you need to choose which one is right for you. Set those boundaries and make it clear. If someone's and red flags, make sure that you notice red flags and that you don't accept them. Don't overlook them. There's been so many times in my past where I can actually recall the moment in my head when I was saying to myself, this is not good. This is a red flag. This right here is something that you know better than to tolerate. You know this is not what you want. This is not how you want things to be. This is not the type of relationship you want to be in. This is not how you deserve to be treated. You need to walk away. But then there was like, but yesterday was so fun. We had such a good time. So how many times, Mama? How many times have I done that? It would take me years to just count. I overly notice red flags because people scare me. I think that sometimes we tend to when we're scared, and this is one of the reasons why, we need to get ourselves to a point where we're certain about how we feel, we're certain about our boundaries, we're certain about our ability to speak to those boundaries or speak to those red flags. Unfortunately, we will get to a point where we might see something little and go, oh crap, this is a red flag, because it could have been something that somebody else did to you, and you're like, oh, I'm picking, they're reminding me of so and so, looks like, smells like, feels like, but it's not always the same. But as Mish just said, and she's 100% right, this is where I was going next. It might be a sign that your mind is telling you you aren't ready yet. If you are picking up red flags, like red flags, like red flags, you might need to spend more time becoming right with yourself, as Mish said, and maybe not be ready to jump into something new, because then, you don't want to be, yeah, Mish and I on sync today. We don't want to be not only because if we do meet somebody who those red flags are legit, yeah, we don't want to be with them. But also, if we meet someone decent and kind and someone who maybe could be aligned for us, but we're not aligned yet and we're not ready, we're gonna think everything is a red flag because we're scared, gun shy, whatever you want to call it. We've been abandoned, we've been hurt, we've been used, we've been mistreated. So the minute we see one thing in somebody that reminds us of a past person that hurt us, then we go, oh shit, here we go again. And then we might mistreat somebody who doesn't deserve it. We're just still overly sensitive. Now, one thing that I can say, and this is something about the communication. Hold on. I dropped the mouse was what fell on the ground, and now I can't. Well, anyway, I can't find it. So, I wanted to go back up in the chat a little bit, but it's really hard to go back in this chat. All right. So, Bubble Kitten says, I'm the opposite. I'm stupid when it comes to flirting and seeing red flags. I don't see either till it's too late. There's where we're working. Mish says, we need to take care of ourselves and love ourselves before having someone else or let them into our boundaries. Yes. And that's exactly what all those wands were saying. We have to be healed, and then we have to be willing to communicate. And where was I going with that other thing? Oh, okay. What I was about to say before I tried to find my thing was that if you are with someone and a red flag comes up, whether it's legit or not legit, whether you're being overly sensitive or not, if you are not in a place within yourself or with them where you can say, hey, look, can we talk about what you just said or what you just did? Can we have a conversation a little bit? Because this situation made me feel a little bit like this. And we also have to learn, though, that we don't accuse. We don't jump at somebody and go, hey, you just said this and it made me feel like crap. You made me feel this way. No, they didn't make you feel that way. It was most likely something from your past that looked like, smelled like, felt like. And so it triggered your emotions from when that happened in the past with another person that hurt you. And so you immediately think that that's where this is going. But it may not be the case. However, if you are not ready yet, within yourself, not confident enough within yourself at this point to have that conversation, to be able to say that to somebody, to have the confidence to do that, because I know that in the past, when those times I'm talking about, when those red flags came up in my head, if I had addressed them at the time, some of them I would have found out were legit red flags and I should have left. Some of them were not red flags and could have been discussed and could have saved me a lot of spiraling over that one comment for weeks. Yeah, you, Micah had added, you made me feel that way, but that's hard to understand and accept. It's not them making you feel that way. It's you making yourself feel that way because you're allowing your brain to pick up on something that happened in the past and allowing that past situation to control your emotions in the current situation. And it may not, and it's not the same. It's not the same person. It's not the same situation. It's all different. And you have to be able to tell the difference, and you have to be able to be strong enough to have that conversation so that you can find out. If you're in a stable relationship with somebody, they're not going to jump down your throat if you say, hey, can we talk a little bit about that comment that you made, because it really made me feel a certain way, and so I want to make sure that that we're on the same page here. If you don't have enough confidence in yourself or in their reaction to be able to have that conversation, then you're probably not ready yet. When your red flags alliterate, how do you tell the when you're red flag illiterate? Oh, when you're red flag illiterate, how do you tell the difference? Yes, bubble kitten, stable relationships do exist. Just because you and I and several other people have not found one yet does not mean they do not exist. I have seen them. Red, those are a thing. That made my brow twitch again. Oh, don't twitch again. Okay, Rock and Sherry says, I think meeting red flag illiterate is somewhat voluntary condition. Being red glad. Okay. Yeah, he's having typing issues as bad as I am having speaking issues this morning. I know you're not red flag or illiterate. I know you're not. But here's the thing. This is how you know that something's a red flag. If somebody says something to you and it cuts, it hurts, it makes you feel a certain negative way, and it's not aligned with the type of relationship or you want to have, or it's not aligned with who you are inside. And say, for instance, okay, I thought of a instance in my life where something happened, and so an ex and I were hanging a TV together in the house we were living in, and we were trying to get it on the wall. This was a while ago when TVs weighed like tons, and we're trying to get it aligned and everything, and I looked out to see to look at the leveling and stuff, and when I did, it slipped a little bit, and he screamed at me, "Pay attention, you idiot." That's a red flag. Number one, don't scream at me. Number two, I'm right here working with you, trying to help. That ain't cool. And number three, don't ever fucking call me an idiot. Period. I did say at the time, don't speak to me like that, but it should have gone further than that. I should have said more than that. Of course, that man was a walking red flag, so I should have been gone way before that happened. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you can tell when something cuts you like that, when you're in a situation that's like, yeah, this is not feel good. This is not right. Something here is off. That's a red flag. If your intuition picks up on something and you're kind of like, I don't know about this. Yeah, you're right, Rock and Sherry. I should have bounced and said nothing. Unfortunately, I was moving into his house at the time and hanging my TV on his wall, and it was okay. All right. So anyway, we got Micah coming up in a 50. Micah's got his risers in 15 minutes. So let's move on to our shadow work for today. Is there anyone in the room? We got a big crowd today, so we better get going. If anybody wants a shadow card, holler at me. And we will get our shadow work card. Risers flat. Yeah, rises. Michael says yes. Bubble Kitten says yes. All right. I'll try and keep an eye on that so I don't miss anybody. All right, Michael. Michael. Oh my gosh. Michael. Wait, Bubble Kittens, my love, help me out here. Can you make me a list? Because I'm running, yeah, there's 6 so far. Okay, so I'm starting with Michael. And Bubble Kittens, if you would help me out, I would appreciate. All right. So, Michael. Comparison is the thief of joy. And while that is true, comparison also provides good information about what you value most. Investigating this leads you to powerful revelations about shadow. What about the lives of others strikes you most often? And what could these insights reveal about your unaddressed desires and needs? All right, Bubble Kittens, I'm going to get you next. So if you, while you're making me a list there. All right, Bubble Kittens, the sage is a psychological archetype represented symbolically as a wise philosopher or advisor. They use knowledge and intellect to navigate the world. Have you ever identified as the sage or felt envious of someone who did? What deeper knowledge do you seek to progress in your own life? I like that one for you because you were talking about. All right, Karen is up next. Under the guise of responsible caregiving, parents can unintentionally squash their children's most precious hopes and dreams. Unfortunately, you can become a carrier of the same self-limiting beliefs, unconsciously feeling the shadows. What was once important to you as a child, but was discouraged? In what ways do you still limit yourself? All right. I lost my list now. All right. Heathery, my love. All right. Heathery, most humans struggle with change. Yeah. You need to adjust as circumstances in your life changes, yet fear can prevent transformation into personal growth. Shadow work encourages examination of this fear to integrate. What is one fear you have about changing and growing? What thoughts or messages contribute to this fear? All right, Michelle. Let us go. The ruler is a symbolic figure who prioritizes absolute control and power over all else, sometimes to compensate for fears and shadow beliefs of inferiority. What is your relationship to power and authority? How has your shadow influenced your relationship to embracing leadership and greater control in your own life? All right, and Sheila. Scroll down here. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm looking over the, making sure nobody else popped in because I was back on it. All right, so Sheila. Shadow material is not only about the personal self, but also your professional identity and sense of self. Most of us experience workplace trauma with lingering consequences. Is there a professional or educational experience that has affected you? How did this experience change your sense of self or rock your confidence? And Micah is in the room. He's going to get one because he always does. And then it's my turn. Micah, the shadow makes its presence known through a decision-making process informed by deep emotions, sometimes unconscious tuition. Can you think of a moment in your life when intuition or deep unconscious understanding guided a choice or decision? How was that experience for you, and how did that affect your life? And the last but not least, I'm going to yell at myself, and then I will give us our soul meditation for the week. The jester, the jester is an archetype of someone who prioritizes bringing joy to others, often while masking internal pain hiding in the shadow. Oh my God. All right. Have you ever masked your own pain to offer joy and light to others? No, me, never. What were the barriers in your life to sharing your discomfort and being more authentic with others? I don't know. I think I'm getting pretty good at sharing my feelings with you guys because we actually don't ahem me, Micah, because we actually fall apart on shows now and everything else. So I think I'm doing a little bit better at sharing my pain with everyone else. All right. All right, here is our soul truth for the week. Here we go. Am I focused on what I am losing or what I am gaining? Are you going through some change? Are you scared to let go because of what you might lose? Oh, shit. What if you shifted your focus from what you might lose to what you might gain? Endings are actually new beginnings. Today's soul action. Today, make a list of all the things you will gain from the change you are going through. Feel your heart, take a breath, and deepen into trust. Amazing things are coming. Yeah. All right. So I don't have my you guys up there in the corner. You see there's the embers of light. There, everything is there. You can find all the shows, all of the podcasts, all the everything. It's all there. Don't la 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 la. Here I can share it. Tonight, and I know who's on Voices on the Rise. I'm glad Heather is here. It's basically telling me I need to be a pen to new experience when I hate people. Website dropping in. Our new website will be out on Monday. I had a feeling there's no voices tonight. But don't forget that tomorrow, Michael J. is back with his new show, or not his new show, his returning show, Defining Your Character. It's on at 6 p.m. tomorrow on Rise Radio. And then you guys be back next week on Monday for one. Don't forget that the new website's dropping on Monday. And be back on Monday for The Bloom at 11 p.m. with Rev D. Micah and I will be back at 6 p.m. for The Messengers. Tuesday is, gosh, my brain is fried today, is Brindle's Vision at noon. Wednesday is Phoenix Talks at 6 p.m. Thursday, the three of us will be back here at 11 for the core. And Friday, I will be back with this mess right here all over again. But I'm so excited to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. We all love you so much, and we're so thrilled to have you. Oh, next week on Voices, when it does come back, will be me, so you will definitely want to listen in. I love you guys. We all love you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for helping us to grow this into what it's becoming, and for all the amazing changes and breakthroughs and new things that are coming to this network. We love you so much, and we appreciate all of you. Thank you. I love you so much. Risers, Micah is waiting for you in the room. Have a fantastic week. Bye. If I can get to my scenes here, I can get out. All right. Go. All right, you guys have a fantastic week. I love you.
What's unseen now inside? What's unseen now inside? What's unknown now ignite? Illuminate, illuminate. Through the fog, the stars away. Illuminate, illuminate. The path you seek, the steps you take.
Hey, this is Brindlewolf.
And I'm Lunaria.
You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action.
We're here to spark your growth, lift your spirit, and help you crush your potential.
Rise awakening. Hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken in life. Rise awakening. Now is the time.
Rise Awakenings. Let's rise together.